Hello everyone, this is my review for WWE Monday Night Raw on December 9th, 2013. Of course, it was the Slammy edition of Monday Night Raw. Honestly, I didn't like the fact that they decided to place the Slammy edition of Monday Night Raw right before the TLC pay-per-view, because typically what you get with the Slammy Awards night is kind of a ho-hum ho-hum type of event where they focus more on the awards than they do on the storylines. And you saw that this time around with a lot of rehashing of matches that either happened last week on Monday Night Raw or happened on SmackDown as well. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the matches were really good. Again, they're trying to rebuild Sin Cara with Hunico as the person behind the Sin Cara mask, and I think they're doing a decent job of that, having him rebuild with Alberto Del Rio. Obviously, same finish as last week. This time it was botched where he missed the actual senton. So overall, them rebuilding Sin Cara with Hunico has been a lot better in my mind. He does do his spots a lot more crisp than Mystico was when he was working as Sin Cara. So we'll see how much longer they keep rebuilding this character under the Hunico area, or if they will go back to Mystico comes back and he'll actually take over the character at that point. We'll see where they actually go with that. Hopefully they won't do another Sin Cara versus Sin Cara feud in the future. But really the only areas that they did any kind of development in their storylines were with the Daniel Bryan and Wyatt family feud, and I like the promo after Daniel Bryan's match on Monday Night Raw. The promo from Bray Wyatt trying to get him to join the Wyatt family and everything. I actually liked where they were going with that, and felt it came off really good. Also, the other area that they built through story was with CM Punk and the Shield. I like the little added touch of the Shield's overconfidence costing Dean Ambrose the match, which again was another really good match with him and CM Punk. They work really well together, and I enjoyed both the matches on SmackDown and on Monday Night Raw as well. But that was a nice little added touch to add a little bit of overconfidence towards the Shield that cost Dean Ambrose that match, and give it a potential for them costing themselves the match on the pay-per-view itself. I expect either Daniel Bryan or CM Punk to win. They might go more towards the aspect of Daniel Bryan going over, because I feel they'll actually want to put him into a title feud here in the near future. They might be putting CM Punk into a title feud as well, maybe around Mania. I don't know where they're going to go with him after the Shield bit, but it looks like they're pushing for Daniel Bryan to go back into the title picture, with him, even though, it was considered fan voting throughout the entire show, but having him win the fan participation and the Superstar of the Year award, makes it look like throughout the show, it just made it look like they were going to push him more towards the title picture. And you saw that a little bit more with what they called the ascension of the two titles, where they put both the titles up and they raised it, or were supposed to just raise it up into the air. Really good promo by Cena and Orton. It was kind of funny how they just let the crowd go along with the whole Daniel Bryan chant, since he was out there during that entire time. They were in Seattle, Washington, close to his hometown, but they played along with it. I like Triple H's comments towards it. I also like the John Cena working Daniel Bryan in there into his promo as well. It seemed to come off a little natural and actually a bit legitimate with what they were going with there. And just the points that Cena was making to Orton, that he was handed everything, and using Daniel Bryan in his little point to make an example that, hey, he worked for it, you didn't really work for it, type deal, was nice little touches that they added to that promo. I liked the spot afterwards with everybody going through a bit through their finishes. With you had Cena and Orton go at it, and then Orton pushes Punk and he goes after Orton. Triple H shoves him away, and he starts getting in Orton's face, and then Punk goes after Triple H. He gets super kicked by Shawn Michaels, who gets kneed by Daniel Bryan, and then causing Randy Orton to go for the RKO, and Bryan countered, pushes in Stephanie McMahon. I liked that little tidbit there, especially with how it ended with Triple H pedigreeing Randy Orton. It gives that assumption that he's not actually siding with Randy Orton, though this is usually the spot where, like, right before the pay-per-view, they wouldn't side with him, or they do something to the cowardly heel, and then they'll go ahead and side with him at the pay-per-view. And that's where I think if they're going to, like I said before, I don't feel like they're going to actually unify both belts on the pay-per-view, but if they do it, it will be probably Randy Orton going over, and it has something to do with Triple H interfering or something in that sense. It's just where I feel like it will go if they decide to actually put both belts together. I said before, the way they've been building this actually almost calls for both of them to grab a belt at the end of the match and pull one down and it stay separated for another pay-per-view or two. Going into either Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, or WrestleMania itself. It's just how I feel like they'll actually go with it. But if they are putting both belts together and getting rid of it for good, getting rid of the both world titles for good, I feel like it'll probably be Randy Orton going over by some kind of interference by Triple H or something in that sense as well. Overall, I didn't really care too much for the Slammy show. Because again, they put so much focus on the Slammy Awards that at least every match had the quote-unquote jobber entrance, where you didn't get to actually see the person, some of the people's entrances going into the match itself. Probably the funniest acceptance speech of the night was probably Shawn Michaels for the Double Cross of the Year, talking about how he'd been doing double crosses for so long, and it took him 25 years just to win this award, and it took him, double crossing Daniel Bryan to get that. So that was actually a very funny one. But overall, I did not really care for the show because, it's the week before the pay-per-view. It's the last Raw before the pay-per-view. You have so much focus on the Slammy Awards. You would want to, I figured they would want to do that show after the TLC pay-per-view to try to put focus on all the matches. Now, they put some focus on at least 3 of the matches, but you didn't get too much furtherization, and you didn't get really any extra furtherization on the Intercontinental title match or the Divas title match as well. So, all in all, I did not really care for the show, and that's my review this week for Monday Night Raw. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.